After working with nearly 200 restaurants in the last year, I want to share the 5 biggest lessons that we learned from 2023. Number 1, people over everything. This one is extremely important because if you don't have the right people, everything in your business is going to be harder. If you don't have the right people, you're going to have to fill in the gaps. They are not going to do the right things. Your customers aren't going to be served properly. The food's not going to go out properly. They're going to be calling in sick and no showing, and you're just going to have to keep hiring, and your labor cost is going to go out. People are the key to everything. And if you can find the right people, your business can do amazing things. So the way that I phrase this is that, C players make C player decisions. Bad employees make bad decisions and do bad things. Mediocre employees do mediocre things. Great employees do great things. Which ones do you want on your team? So looking at 2024, one of the things you have to do is become an employer of choice. Because, let's face it, there is a lot of places that people can work. And this is what most restaurant owners don't get. What worked in 2018 and 2019 and before doesn't work today because the market has shifted. It's shifted to an employee market, meaning they get to pick and choose where they want to work. That might not be for you, right? They get to pick and choose where they want to work because they could get hired almost anywhere. And so what we need to do is become the place where people want to work. We have to think of this like marketing to our potential employees, the same way we'd market to potential customers. And if we do that, that's how we're going to bring people in. That's how we're going to get the great people, by being the place where great people want to be. And if we can do that, your business will be better for the rest of the year and beyond. Number 2, expenses are like fingernails. They continually need to get trimmed. So the thing is, expenses always creep up. Maybe it's this TV subscription that you have on your P&L, or maybe it's this other thing. Maybe your vendors are increasing their markup along the way. Maybe that's on your produce supplier, whatever the case might be. Expenses are like fingernails. Now, I talk to a lot of restaurant owners and they say, Andrew, well, I get a report at the end of the year, or I get a report every quarter, or, I just see if my bank account's going up and down. Well, sure, those are all well and good, but the question I have for you is, are you making the type of profit that you want to? Because if you're not, then you need to do something. And by having the accurate reporting and looking through your accounts, looking through your expenses, you can figure out, okay, where are we overspending? How can we save money on things? How can we bring our labor down? How can we bring our food down? How can we make this a more profitable enterprise? Because one of the biggest things I hear from people that I talk to today are that, they used to be profitable before COVID, but now everything's changed and they haven't adapted. And that is the thing that needs to happen. Number 3, never stop marketing. Most restaurant owners don't realize this, but you lose 10% of your customers every single year because they move, they get different jobs, they go elsewhere. Like, there's so many different things that happen. They find new options, places to go. You lose 10% of your customers every year because of all those things. So if you're not marketing and gaining at least 10% new customers, well, guess what? Your business will shrink. Right? So what we need to do is continually start marketing and continually do that again and again and again. And we can't just put up a post on social media. That is not marketing. That is literally the same thing as turning on your open sign these days, because everybody's on social media. Everybody posts organic content. You need to do more than what everyone else is doing in order to stand out and in order to get more results than what everyone else is getting. We have to do more. So what we need to be doing is on multiple channels. We need to be doing texts and emails. We need to be doing some community and guerrilla marketing. We need to be doing some traditional marketing. There's all of those things all at the same time that need to happen. But most restaurant owners will say, oh, I'm too busy. I don't have time to do that. I just don't have the time, don't have the money, do all of that. But here's the deal, is that by not doing it, you're never going to have the money, you're never going to have the time, and you're never going to get your business where you want it to go. We need to continually market because we need to continually grow our business to keep up with just the changes that are happening everywhere. So never stop marketing. That needs to be a daily thing that you are doing. And if you are stuck in the business somewhere else and don't have the time to market, then that's the problem that you need to solve in order to free yourself up to be able to do the marketing. Now, number 4. Always have a backup plan. The only thing constant in this world and in business is change. You will lose employees. You will lose managers. Your equipment will fail. You need to have a backup plan to be able to counter all of those things. And so one of the most common ones I see is that when Restaurant owners lose a manager, especially if they're multi-unit owners, they will get sucked down to the business. They will have to pick up for the things that their manager used to do. And then they won't be able to focus on the marketing, on the finances, on growing the business, opening up more locations, because they're stuck in the kitchen, right? They get stuck there. So the way I phrase this is you need to have an heir and a spare. You need to make sure that you have not only your plan A, but you also need to have a plan B, because it is not an if there will be change, it is when there will be change. And so if you are not planning ahead, if you are not staffing up in the anticipation of losing some team members, you are always going to be behind. So the only way to succeed is actually preventing things from happening, or having your plan B ready to go before things change and things happen. So here's an example I'll share. Usually in springtime, sales go up, right? But we only start hiring once sales already start going up, when in reality, we need to start hiring 2 months before that so that they're trained and ready by the time our sales go up, right? There's also turnover in the springtime. That just happens. We need to be prepared for both of those things. And if we're not, we're always going to be coming from behind, and we're never going to be able to capitalize on the opportunities that are there for our business. Now, number 5, you cannot have control and freedom at the same time. Most owners I know want to control everything. They want to see every dish that goes out. They want to oversee everything, make sure every duty is done. They want to have control over everything, and they just frustrates them so much when things aren't done to their level. Most restaurant owners are stressed, work way too much, and don't have a life, because they have created a business that they are a slave to, because they are the only ones that can possibly do everything up to the level that they want it done consistently. You can't have control and freedom at the same time. What you need to do is relinquish control a little bit by putting the right people in place, by putting the right systems in place, so that you might be able to get 90% of what your expectation is. But by doing that, you gain the freedom to be able to focus on your marketing, to focus on your finances, to actually have a life. And by doing so, you can create a business that's able to scale. But you will never be able to scale if you're the one that is head down in the weeds all the time and you don't trust anyone to do anything. And if you don't learn the skill set of teaching others and training other managers and becoming an executive, you will always stay in that place. You can't have control and freedom at the same time. But if you learn how to be an executive and coach your managers and lead your managers and become the leader that your organization needs, and you set the right people in place, you put the right systems in place, you can then gain the freedom, and the organization can create the results that your business needs and allow you to have the life as well. So those are the top 5 lessons. Again, people over everything, expenses are like fingernails, never stop marketing, always have a backup plan, and you can't have control and freedom at the same time. So if you learn from these things and focus on these 5 things that I just mentioned, you will have a much more successful 2024 than you would have otherwise. If you have questions, let me know. Happy to chat further.